What are the main things that make you feel good? What are the main things that make you feel bad? What are the main things about you that make you feel good? Or the main things about you that make you feel bad? Today we're going to talk about the main builders in your life and the main destroyers in your life. And both of those combined are words. The words you say, or the words other people say, are powerful. It goes back to that age-old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And sure, sticks and stones can break your bones, but I'll tell you something right there, right? Broken bones heal over time. Sometimes words linger on people for years. I'm talking years. So in a way, you can say words may not physically hurt you, but they can internally hurt you, depending on where they come from. Words are kind of like, you could say it's kind of like money, right? It's kind of amoral, right? Depending on what you do with it, makes it bad or good. And so that's the thing we're going to explore today is, what are your words doing? What are other people's words doing to you? So that's what we're going to talk about. First, I'd like to give this example of, all right, what's the bad way of using words? Because there's good ways of using words and bad ways of using words. So the first thing I want to talk about is tearing other people down. A lot of the time, people don't realize this one because, your words, usually you don't really take a lot of care of your words for the most part. Sometimes people don't watch what they say. And it's an important thing that you need to watch what you say because you don't know what it's going to affect or how it's going to affect other people. So I'm going to give some examples of tearing others down. One is degrading. Being negative is the other one. Destructive criticism is another one as well. And insult. And there's more to that, and I'll add more to that as we go down the road. But for the first one I want to talk about is degradation, all right, degrading. So a lot of the times as we speak words that we don't know are degrading, right? And so degrading words are stuff that really make people feel terrible about themselves. So if there's something they don't like about themselves and you poke fun on something like that, that makes them feel degraded. It's almost like if you make someone feel degraded, it's almost like energy draining in a way for them because then they don't feel good about themselves. If you degrade somebody, that makes them feel worse about themselves. So a lot of the times in my past, I've had problems with being degraded, I guess, with friends online kind of the deal. And, it took me a bit to kind of work up that courage to say, hey, stop it. But it really affected me. And in reality, a lot of people think, oh, these words won't bother me, stuff like that. And that's fine. Listen, if you have that mentality and you have something to help refresh you, then I totally understand degrading stuff's probably not going to hurt you. But if you're surrounded by it, like let's say you're the punching bag, all right? A lot of the times, this is what I can relate with is because I know what being the punching bag was like, all right? And not really in high school, but in general with friends because people like my reactions to things. And so I understand what it's like to be that punching bag, right? And, for a while, it didn't bother me. You know what I mean? It didn't bother me, but it slowly ate at me. And I never really noticed it until it got too big to where I was like, all right, this is not cool anymore. I need to say something about it. Degrading is something that's usually slow. You don't notice it. It's very small comments that'll just like, oh, that's okay, it don't bug me that much. But after you hear it over and over and over again, it starts to build up and build that mentality. So if you feel like someone says something negative over your life, in reality, sometimes if they say something degrading, I shouldn't have said negative, degrading, after a while, you may end up believing it yourself. And that's the thing, you have to stop yourself from, believing that. And that's why you shouldn't surround yourself with degrading people. Now, here's the thing, though. People don't know that they're degrading, right? And so you need to sometimes tell them. My friends did not know they were being degrading towards me. I had to say, hey, listen, you've got to stop. I am now seen as the punching bag here. I don't want to be like that. It felt like torture a little bit. Not like a whole lot because I stood up for it, but it felt bad, right? And those words, and it was just joking words, but it was constant joking of like degrading things. And after a while, it just got old and then it hurt. And that's why you should watch out about degrading things. Degrading things are kind of like poking fun at other people, but it's constant at a rate where everyone's poking fun at you. And then it's like, then you feel real bad. That's degrading. And so, and a lot of people don't notice that. So it's good to say something about it before moving on. But sometimes you do not need to surround yourself with a degrading atmosphere, especially if they don't change for you. Especially if you stand up for yourself. You're going to have to stand up for yourself in degrading, I'll tell you that. The next one is being negative. Okay, being negative is a very, very easy one to fall under when it comes to tearing others down. So being negative, sometimes we don't realize we're negative. If you see a lot of people on Twitter, I guarantee you almost all of them don't think they're being negative, but they really are. And so being negative is a thing that's very easy to happen. We can basically go, listen, I don't really like this presidential candidate. All right, that's one of them. All right, that's politics. Politics really falls under being negative. I'm not gonna lie. See, as a guy who used to put politics in his heart a lot, and then get angry at anyone who had this omega differing opinion, instead of accepting someone for having a different opinion, it really messed with my heart, right? And so that's why you have to watch out. Make sure your heart's not in the wrong place. Because here's the thing: if your heart's in the wrong place, you're gonna spew out negativity even when you feel like you're not. You produce this bad energy or this aura about you where it's like, man, I'm just really upset with life, or I don't like things going this way. And then that's why sometimes you maybe have friends or other people who as soon as you talk about something political, they just go on this gigantic tangent. All right, I understand what it's like to go on tangents. I'm a tangent man myself, but you probably have those feelings or know someone with those feelings. The best thing, I'll say in the political aspect, stay away from politics. I had to do that myself. I had to detach myself and move on to a different thing, realize that there's a lot more to life than just being upset with political stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. It's okay to look at politics stuff if you want to just get a good idea of who you want to vote for, kind of the deal. That's fine. But, if it gets to the point where you're causing a divide between people, or just like, you think differently than I do? Hi-ya, we're going to punch each other and beat each other down. That also produces a negative aura, by the way, or a negative energy. Because then you're fighting with two people. How do you think people are going to be supportive of you or like you if you're being negative like that in that aspect? So being negative is a thing that can happen to anybody. It doesn't have to be politics either. Maybe something bad happened to you and you just won't stop talking about it because it feels good to talk about it. And so therefore it tears other people down when they hear this negativity, because a lot of the times hearing negativity tears people down. Don't get me wrong, if people want to and then they want to help you with your problem, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're constantly being negative with how you are, you're going to need to change the words of what you say, because the words of what you say can be really negative depending on how you say them and what they do. Now, I'm not saying you should be wary of offending anybody, right? Do not be scared to offend people, because let's be real. These days, anymore, homies, you're going to offend somebody. That's just how it is, all right? Someone's going to get offended by one thing you say. Don't be scared to offend somebody. That's just how it's going to be sometimes. But do be aware of speaking negativity over other people's lives. That's a thing that's very, very important, right? Very, very important. Another one is destructive criticism. Actually, wait, not destructive criticism yet. We're going to go back to being negative again. All right, so there's more about being negative about it, all right? Sometimes people want to sit in their darkness, right? And they want other people to go within their darkness too, so they'll say negative things about other things just so they feel good, or they want someone to agree with those negative thoughts. Don't fall for that. Don't fall into that. And it's very easy to be negative. Don't be negative with the words that you say. Try to look for positive words to say. I'll look at that in a different aspect, though. We're talking about tearing others down. And being negative is definitely one thing, all right? You could say one thing of saying, someone did something really good. All right, well, we'll jump into that now, actually. Destructive criticism. So in destructive criticism, someone could do something really good, right? But you may only point out the problems in it, which isn't a bad thing to an extent, but there's a certain way of doing it. If you're destructive with your criticism, basically, if someone wants feedback, you're kind of being dead on rude to it, and you're not providing any help back. So destructive criticism is when you basically blatantly insult what someone makes. We'll use art for an example. I think art's a great thing. When someone says, hey, what do you think of this? You look at it and go, man, this is actually terrible. It sucks. And you don't say anything else after it. No way to improve it. Nothing like that. That's destructive criticism. It makes the other person feel bad, and they don't know how to fix it either. So it just makes them feel bad, and then it's bad on their confidence too, because then they're like, man, I really do not feel happy about this. My confidence is pretty much shot. That's how they feel when they're told something like that. If I were told something like that, you betcha I'd be like, man, this kind of stinks. I don't feel good from it. So definitely that's destructive criticism. That's literally not a cool thing. There's a lot of not cool things of tearing others down. And the last one I think I'm going to talk about, unless I think of something else during the recording here, is insults. Insulting is a definite tearing someone down kind of the deal. You cannot expect someone to be uplifted when you blatantly insult them kind of the deal. So if you're a person who's like calling someone stupid, now don't get me wrong, I guess it depends on the context of what your heart is about too. But if you're blatantly calling somebody stupid just for funs and giggles, and you think it's fun, it's not. It tears people up. It tears them down. It makes them feel worse about themselves. They don't want to hear insults. They don't want to feel like they're lesser than somebody else, and that's what insults can do. That's what tearing others down can do, is make them feel lesser than you. And I think that's one of the things that you have to take from this is be careful what you're saying, because what you can say literally is horrible and can tear people down. And not only that, it could linger on them forever. I mean, we're talking like depression, anything like that, anxiety. They're too scared to say anything because they're scared someone's going to say something mean to them. All right, or they just lose all care in the world. There's a lot of things about like tearing people down that you have to be aware of. And yes, joking insults, complaints, there's a lot of negativity. All right, if you're constantly complaining, I'll put that in there actually. Constantly complaining, people don't like that. Stop constantly complaining. It's very hard, especially when your mind's adapted to it. But if you're constantly complaining, people don't want to do things for you because they feel like you're gonna complain. There's a lot of things you have to be careful with your words. Maybe you're way too critical. I've dealt with that in my life where someone's way too critical. They will keep looking at everything you do wrong and pinpoint it, but never say what you do right. And you need to be careful with that. You need to realize, all right, I need to stop being like this and move on to a different way. And it's not easy, by the way. Everyone seems to think, oh, well, you make it seem so easy. And well, it's because it's just that simple. Simple and easy don't always mix, all right? Sometimes they do, but in this case, it's not always easy changing your wording and the way you talk. And I've got one more thing I want to talk about as well, actually. It's about how you treat people you don't like. Now, listen, I understand there's a lot of times we have people we don't like, but what do you say about them? You can also not like somebody and not be rude or degrading about them as well. See, here's the thing, right? The best way to treat people who you don't like is to not speak these tearing down words upon them, kind of the deal. I understand in life we're always going to have someone we do not like, but you can't expect them to understand or them to magically just be okay with you or magically think your ways are the right ways, kind of the deal. So what words are you speaking over people you don't like? Did you know if it's degrading words? Degrading words, basically, the bad things you're saying about other people that you don't like or you're tearing them down, it's still bad for you, even though that person may not be a good person, even though that person may not align with the way of thinking you have. The words you speak about them, or if they're bad, they're still bad. It doesn't matter if they're a bad person or not. What are you saying about other people that you don't like? So that's pretty much what tearing people down is. Now we're going to talk about building people up, or what builds people up. And so for the most part, I wrote this down in my notes. I said, when someone fails, be excited and helpful over what they did right in your words. And I think that's important. See, that is constructive criticism, right? It's basically where, hey, listen, you did this wrong, but you did really good here. And honestly, you're learning, so it's okay. We're going to keep working together on this kind of the deal. That is constructive criticism. That is something that will help people grow and not make them feel bad about themselves, If they start feeling bad about themselves after constructive criticism, that's an inward thing on them, all right? And that's a thing they have to fix. But for the most part, constructive criticism will always be good. There's nothing bad about it, and it's good at building people. It helps make them have a thicker skin about things and helps build them up and feel more confident. It's like, all right, I'm learning. I'm doing better. Always look for progress over perfection. I think that's one of the main things that you should say with your words and also within your heart. because a lot of the times people are like, oh, it doesn't look good, but they don't see the progress made in it, right? And so, like, you may have done something really not good, but it's definitely way better than what you did a year or two ago, right? And so that's the importance. Progress over perfection. That's the main thing. Because if you sit there and you lift someone up if you lift someone up with their progress, with the words that you say, they're going to feel way better and more confident to do more. And they're going to be excited to do more. That's why it's important to speak words of life that build on other people. Speaking kindness into someone's life, that's important. Sometimes people just need a word of kindness out of nowhere. It's crazy, right? Kindness does a lot out of nowhere. Just a small compliment can really lighten up somebody's day. Seriously, it can. All you have to do is say, hey, I like your hair. Something like that. Something really nice. I don't know. It depends on what your compliments are. As long as they're not weird, just don't go randomly yo, I like the random mole on your face, I'm sure people don't want to hear that, but if they're a comedic person, I'm sure they'd love that. But in reality, it's people would love just to hear someone say something nice to them randomly. Now, sometimes there are a little crazy people out there, but for the most part, people like to hear nice things, especially from random people, random strangers. It's really nice because it helps them feel better. It's like, oh, it's not someone I know. I don't feel like they're lying to me, kind of the deal. And they really think this, and that's really nice of them, and it makes them feel better. Now, that doesn't mean that your friends are lying to you, by the way. It means they care for you. All right. It doesn't mean you should white lie, but it definitely means that you should speak words of encouragement, help people feel better about themselves, be happy for their growth. That's another thing too. A lot of times when people are changing, it's harder for them to change because of the fact that, one, they either aren't open about that change, or two, is just that no one's supportive of them when they make a change that's new and awesome. Be encouraging of that. It's like a struggling addict, for example. If they have someone who's encouraging them, saying, yes, that's awesome, I'm glad you're going a week without this. It's going to really open their eyes more and make them feel happier and feel not like alone in their addiction world. Stuff like that. It really builds people up. And by the way, yeah, exactly. Okay, I wrote this in my notes, but I'll say it again here. People are more inclined and excited to grow themselves when they know others who care for them are rooting for them. Literally, it's the truth. Like, how many times have you done something and wanted to give up, but you had some friends tell you, hey, stop. Hey, keep going. Well, not stop, but hey, stop falling over yourself on this. You've got this, and I believe in you. That really works on people. Literally, it works a lot in people. Not saying it works as a weird thing, but it works in their hearts. It makes them feel way better. That's why you need to speak life, speak better things. There's a cool Toby Mac song, and I love it. It's really cool. It's called Speak Life, and it's really cool because it's just talking about speaking life into others. A lot of the time, people just don't want to speak life to other people, and life is a good thing to speak into people. Just be real with people, but also help lift them up, encourage them. Encouragement is awesome, man. It's always good to motivate some people as well. Those are the kind of words that are just amazing, man. Those are the kind of words you've got to use in your life. Be careful to not use words that tear people down, because it's very easy to fall into that. Very, very easy. So you just got to be careful and be aware of it. I want to bring up a Bible verse, because I'm a big biblical man. All right, I like the Bible, the big Bible. All right, I like the Bible. It's really cool. But it's in Ephesians 4:29, which is chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. So don't let talking of negative things come out of your mouth. I mean, listen, it's easy to let that happen, but I like the word corrupting, right? Because in a way, it's like degrading. All right, it's draining. It's all these things that no one really likes, and so it's a really cool thing to bring out there is like, it is corrupting talk, basically. When you talk bad about other people, you are talking corruptive talk. No matter who it is, if it's your best friend, if it's someone that you've had problems with and addressed problems with and they keep causing problems, it's a lot of things, right? And if you keep letting that linger in your heart, guess what? You're gonna be having problems. You're gonna have a negative life. There's gonna be a lot of things that happen. It's not just you that causes negativity to other people, it's also negativity you cause inside yourself. And that's actually what we're gonna talk about too right here is, what do you say about yourself, or what do you say inwardly, right? So I'm going to talk about what you say inwardly before we talk about yourself, though. This is what I wrote down too. Words you say in your heart and behind the scenes can also affect you as a person. That's what I wrote down. And it's true. It's true. What you say can affect you as a person. So like, you can speak negativity over a lot of people's lives that you run into, right? And ultimately, it eats your heart away just as much it would eat anyone else's heart away, especially if you let them know that you're speaking these things about them. And so, not only that, if you speak negativity over someone else's life, not only are you hurting them, but you're hurting yourself. And you may not notice it because it's a slow like hardening of the heart, right? And imagine this, you have a heart that's beating, pumping, very healthy, right? And the more and more negativity you let it in, the harder and harder your heart gets. And so that's basically what, like, a good example of it, The harder your heart gets, the harder it is to be open and be yourself and be happy, because you've got a whole, like, stone around your heart, basically. I don't know if anyone needed that, but definitely, that's some good stuff right there. I put on here too is, check to make sure you are not actively saying or feeling words that tear other people down on the inside of you as well. And that's the hard part, right? Is the internal battle, right? Because we can control what we say through our mouths, right? It's very easy. Like, we can, when someone's around, we can instantly say something else, right? We have the ability to not say it. But in our hearts, we can look at someone, be feeling very judgmental and be like, man, I really don't like this person. You know what I mean? And that's still just as bad as saying, hey, I really don't like this person to other people. It's the same amount, because inwardly, you're the one getting your heart hardened about it, right? And you produce a bad energy with it. So that's pretty much what I'm talking about in that aspect of, like, inwardly, you can still have these thoughts or these feelings in your heart of just tearing someone down. Like, you don't like them or you don't like what they're doing. So you're going to keep tearing them down within yourself. And then it causes a detachment from other people as well, because then you're like, yeah, get away from me, kind of the deal. So be careful of that. And another thing I wanted you to realize is the words that you speak over yourself. What do you speak over yourself? What do you say about yourself? That's an important thing in life, right? You need to know what you're saying about yourself, or what you're saying. I'll speak on what I've brought this up in, like, probably quite a few WhizDum Wednesdays over the past times, but what happened to me was I would say sorry so much. I still do say sorry, but not as much. But I would say sorry for the littlest of things, constantly. And I thought there was no problem with it until someone at church had told me, what you speak is, was it like the words of your body or something like that? Oh, the words over yourself are like a temple, man. And I'm just like, man, that's pretty cool. It was something along the lines. Don't hurt me, all right? Listen, but it really opened my eyes a bit. It's like, man, the words I speak over my life, just even saying sorry about things. Because if I say sorry, I feel like I'm at fault, which makes my heart go down more. And it makes me feel like it's my fault. Now I may know it's not my fault, but it still makes me feel like it. And it could be a small thing too, where I don't feel it. But the words you speak still affect your heart. And so me saying sorry like that affected my heart. It helped me not be as super hyper conscious around people that I'm around, especially when I don't need to say sorry for something. I've seen a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure you may struggle with this yourself too. When you start being yourself and you maybe feel like you're loud or obnoxious at some points, you say sorry for being you. And you shouldn't have to be sorry for being you. That's just how you are. I'm a loud, bombastic person. I ain't gonna lie. I say majestic all the time. I'm being more and more comfortable being myself, and that's what you should do as well. Speak words over your life that are confident. Get rid of words that are gonna make you feel worse. If you keep saying sorry about the things that you do, guess what? It's gonna make you feel worse as a person. It's just like holding anger towards someone in life and not really addressing that towards yourself or doing anything about it. You're saying words under your and behind the scenes, or inwardly. And so you're basically hardening your heart. In a way, saying sorry, for example, constantly making it feel like it's always your fault, can in a way make your heart harder or more fragile, I guess you could say. It's like, you could say your heart is like, it can go, there's an in between and then there's left and right. Far left can make it hard, far right can make it way too flimsy. All right. And so you got to stay in the middle, kind of the deal. I don't know if anyone needed that, but I hope that was helpful. But it's important, You also should build yourself up, That's what I put in my notes. I put, what you say about yourself goes a long way, and it does. See, here's the thing, right? Sorry isn't what you say about yourself. It's just how you feel in your heart. What you say about yourself does go a long way. So are you going to say degrading things about yourself? That happens a lot. I've seen a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll sit there and degrade themselves, and they think it's funny, and it's not. It's nowhere near funny. It's only funny to you because you maybe feel like, a few people will laugh at it. But if someone laughs at a degradation thing to you, it's not that funny. Now, if you find it funny, if that's your humor, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to say there and say, your humor is not real humor. Like, I've got a wide variety of humor. I understand that humor is just like, humor comes from anything, right? For the most part. And so I just want to say that, like, degradation, maybe you say bad things about yourself for humor, right? For other things. Well, for the most part, the bad things you say about yourself really do harden your heart or make yourself feel weaker, or you just don't feel good about yourself at some points. I guarantee you, most of the people who make fun of themselves only for comedy reasons, stuff like that, they probably struggle heavily with themselves. They probably do. So that's why you need to watch out for the words that you say. The words you say about yourself can really affect your heart and your mentality and your confidence about yourself as well. It's very important to know the words that you're speaking over your life, because if you don't, you're really ultimately going to probably even put yourself in a depressive state, anxious about things. You may feel like, you always have to make a joke about yourself because it'll make other people laugh, stuff like that, It's a thing that I've seen. It hurts, People sit there and they think it's good for themselves, and it's not. And no, it never will be good for you. All right? It's not good. You need to be built in a right way. Someone needs to build you up, and you have to be your main builder. I think that's important too. You have to also help build yourself up. All right? Because listen, you may speak words of life onto other people, but what you say about yourself is also important too. How are you going to build people up, right? If you don't build yourself up. You can't fill an empty cup with an empty cup. And I think that's one of the best analogies ever on, like, I love that analogy so much, because you can't help somebody when you can't have when you don't have the resource to help them. So you need to speak confidence over yourself. Now, that does not mean go arrogant, right? Do not be an arrogant person. No one likes arrogant people, all right? Listen, you will turn into a tearing down person, all right? If you keep constantly talking about yourself, or if you become narcissistic or arrogant because you're speaking too much confidence over your life, it can lopside. So you got to be careful with the way you speak over yourself as well. But don't be scared of becoming arrogant if that's the reason you're also putting yourself down. Do not put yourself down, and don't become too arrogant. You got to stay in between. And don't think of it as like a gray line area. All right, listen, just make sure it's a bigger area. All right, it's not just a line. It's literally like, it's not if, you'll cross one line, now you're overconfident kind of the deal. Don't be hyper conscious like that. Listen, you got friends that also will tell you, hey, listen, you're being a little too arrogant. You know what I mean? So just be careful with that. Also, here's the thing too, surround your people who give you words of encouragement, right? The way you're going to do the best in your life is surround yourself with people who give you words of encouragement. I'll tell you this, right? I have, I had a terrible mentality when I was younger. I did. And I mentioned this in like the first 3 WhizDum Wednesdays that I had. I had a terrible mentality, but I changed, right? And then I even went to church, and then people remembered me, and I felt better because I was like, man, I was gone for forever, right? I was gone for like 2 years, and they remembered who I was. And so when I felt remembered and had these people know who I am and treat me with love, it really just lifted my mentality on life. It really made me feel way better about myself. And then getting those people to surround me with words of encouragement really built me up. So surround yourself with some people who will give you words of encouragement. You need those kinds of people in life. Let's just be real. If you don't have someone like that in your life, it's probably really hard. It's probably really hard to get around and stuff because you don't feel good about yourself. You need to try to get someone like that in your life. Surround yourself with people like that. Don't surround yourself with people who are going to constantly degrade you just because they feel like you're friends, but they're constantly degrading you. And I will say this too. Whether you believe in God or not, right? I believe having confidence in your God-given gifts in life is really good, but you got to have confidence in the resource where it came from, right? And so you can't just be confident in yourself. I feel like someone needs that. I'm not sure why, but I read this in a book recently, actually, called Confident Leader, and it's not by John Maxwell, but it said it was forward by John Maxwell. It's by Dan Ryland, I think. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Don't hurt me. But basically, in there, they talked about this woman who had believed in her talents so much that she became overwhelmed one day, and her talents couldn't help her out one day, and she had to rely on God. And when she relied on God, she had a better mentality on life and everything, and it helped build her confidence again, and it became better because she knew to rely on God and not her talents. Now, if you don't believe in God, that's perfectly fine. That's just how you believe, and I'm not going to sit there and try to condemn you for it. I do recommend, yes, I'm biased, but this is just where I came from, go to a church. A church is a great place to find people who will speak words of encouragement from you, if they're a good church. Listen, there's bad churches out there. Don't let one bad church ruin every church for you, though. But just find yourself a good church, probably. You'll find some good people around there. If not, go find a place where there's encouraging people. Maybe you find some people who work at a rehab center. Those people are generally nice. People who help put other people on a better path in life basically are the best kinds of people to surround yourself with. Surround yourself with those people. They will give you words of encouragement for sure. They have to. That's their profession too. So that's one of the coolest things I think would be cool for someone who's in a profession of helping others is that, hey, listen, I get to help you. Listen, it's my profession, and not only that, we can be friends. I think that's one of the coolest things. So just be aware of that. Go to these places, find some help. Whether it be through God or from other people, depending on how you believe or what you want to believe. I'll say this too. What are you saying on social media? That's the thing I wrote down literally, I think, an hour ago. Probably wasn't even an hour ago. It wasn't even an hour ago, close to an hour ago. What are you saying on social media? That's the thing I struggled with, by the way, especially last year. Last year, I would basically be vocal about how mad I was at other people and stuff like that because of how hypocritical they were. But in reality, posting stuff about that all the time will make you produce a negative environment because the words you constantly speak are the words are the environment that you're basically creating. And it took me a bit to realize that, man, I've got to stop posting this stuff because if I keep posting it, I'm going to be creating the negative environment that I've been working so hard to fight and combat on the internet basically. And so I had to change that in myself, and politics comes into that. Now, I was never angry about I did bring up some political stuff, but it wasn't like, I was never like, oh, Trump, Biden, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I wasn't like anything like that to the point to where I'd be rude to other people, but it was more of me being angry of other people being hypocrites. And, there are going to be people who are hypocritical out there. Yes, that's just how it is. But if you constantly keep bringing up bad stuff on what you post online, you're going to produce that negative environment. That's why, one, I don't watch the news anymore because everything they say on there now is negative. It's a bad environment. Now, it doesn't mean it's not true for the most part. Sometimes it may be true. That's your opinion, whatever it is. But, it's just a negative environment. It's depressing on there. I don't want to watch it anymore. And that's why I feel like a lot of people don't understand is that a lot of people don't want to watch negative stuff all the time. But negative stuff gives the more views. And that's one thing too. Just because something gets more views doesn't mean the words you're saying are always correct. It doesn't. The words you say impact a lot of people. Believe it or not. What I mentioned in watching is that you've got people watching you. You do. Believe it or not. Whether it's your kids, your family, someone else, someone out on the street. They're watching you. And the words you say could really impact them, change them, or do a lot. Here's the thing is I like to believe too. Your words can impact people you've probably never even talked to. Never in your life. That's why you need to watch your words, what you post on social media. That's why I now, don't get me wrong, I'm a human, so I'll probably mess up, but it doesn't make it right either. But yeah, I've messed up a couple times on social media. I posted some things I was a little upset about. It wasn't political necessarily, but it was just mainly calling people out. It's not a good place to bring that out a lot. Now, I mean, if you want to, that's fine. That's your life. But for me in my life, it created a negative atmosphere. I didn't want anything to do with it, and I shouldn't have anything to do with it. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Are your words building people up or tearing them down? I gave you both examples, right? The examples of tearing people down are degrading, being negative, destructive criticism, being too critical, insulting. There was something else and I totally forgot, but don't worry, it's in there somewhere. You'll hear it. And building people up. Are you excited for people? Are you helping them grow? Are you speaking kindness over someone's life? You know, like I said, a compliment goes a long way. A compliment, just a random compliment, could really help someone. You may even save someone's life from a random compliment. You never even know that. It's always good to be complimentative. Doesn't matter who it is. Just speak a word of life into them and make them go, wow. You know, it's worth living more, you know? Sometimes people are having this big struggle and just one comment can really just throw them up higher, you know? Lift them up higher. Be careful what you say behind the scenes. What you say inwardly. You know, inwardly is the hardest battle to fight, but I'll tell you something, homies. It's definitely real. It's a real deal. It'll mess you up on the inside. Be careful what you're saying, what you're thinking behind the scenes about other people. You could really be degrading your own heart while attempting to degrade other people. What are you speaking over yourself? You've been through a lot. I feel like I'm talking to someone here. You've been through a lot, and you don't feel like you're worth it. You don't. I don't know who you are, but, well, I probably do, but I don't know who needs this at that moment, but you've probably been through a lot. I'm just going to be honest with you. You've been through a lot, and you've constantly struggled. You've constantly sat there and just didn't feel good about yourself. Felt like you're just a waste of space. You felt like, man, you know what? Honestly, how can I speak words over my life that are great, man? How can I? You know, no one likes me. A lot of people just run away around, just running off, do whatever they want. They're all happy, but me, you know? How can I speak words over my life when I can't even change my life? And in reality, you can. You can change your life. It doesn't matter how deep you are in a hole. You can always come out of it, man. There's an infinite ladder, you know that? There's always an infinite ladder that'll help get you out of that hole. You are redeemable. I was talking to our homie Viper about redemption. I'm not going to go into spoiler realms of what he was talking about, but you're redeemable. You know, just because you see yourself as something that's lesser than what you actually are doesn't mean you're not capable of doing great things. Yes, you're going to mess up a couple times, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with messing up, but learn from those mistakes. Move forward. Whoever needs to hear this, you can speak words over your life. You can. You just got to find you. Be you and find you. That's important. Sometimes people don't like the way they are, and that's the case. That is the case. Find some friends that'll really talk life over you, you know? Take that step out of that comfort zone. Sometimes you have to take a step out of the comfort zone to really lighten up. There's a light. There's always a light, right? There is always a light. And I believe it. Whether it be God or whatever you want to do to change yourself. But I believe for me, my light was God in my life. And I don't know who needs this, but in truly reality, I say you need to go get some holiness in. You know what I mean? And if you don't feel like that, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But in all reality, my reality is I changed and I became a better person. I loved life. You know, I used to be real negative and said, life's terrible. It's a dark place. I don't like it here. I don't like life. And, you know, the moment I saw an environment that changed me, it was crazy. It's almost like an unexplainable feeling, right? But you have the ability to change and to become something better. Reach out to somebody. I think that's one of the most important things too, is reach out to somebody, whether it be God or someone you care about. Reach out to them and say, listen, I need some help fixing this about me. Or I need to fix the words I'm saying. You know, have some people hold you accountable, not in a bad way, but a good way. All right, you who is listening to me, You are a unique individual, right? You are a speck. You may see yourself as a speck over millions of other specks, but you're a unique speck. You have something so special about you. You just gotta look into yourself and see it, though. You have to see it. Everyone's got that. But some people refuse to see it, and the more they refuse to see it, the more that darkness stays. If you want to keep staying in that darkness, you're more than welcome to, but that pain never goes away. It doesn't. It never does. Until you decide to change it. Until you decide to walk into a path of light and really just uplift yourself and uplift others. You know, I recommend this if you really need this. I never really got to see the magnitude of what helping other people did until I did it myself. And it really changed something in my heart. Like beforehand, I was like, I don't really want to help other people. They're not that cool. But, seeing other people's brokenness get lifted up, it's one of the most beautiful things you can do in your life. I went to a homeless feeding thing in Nashville, Tennessee, when I was like a kid, right? And I just saw how how many homeless people came in there and just ate some spaghetti, man. And it was a beautiful thing, like doing something like that really helps people, when they know other people are out there that are really helpful like that. It's a beautiful thing, and do something like that. Look for stuff like that. Try to do stuff like that. I guarantee you it'll help your heart out. You may feel like you're unredeemable or you're just a waste of space, but you're not. You've never been a waste of space. The waste of space mentality was just a lie told over you so you'd believe it. Whether it be by you or by someone else or heck by the devil himself, It's a lie. It's not true. You have the ability to do many great things. You just got to see it within you. And you can do it, and I believe in you. Just like anybody, if you're struggling with words, I believe in you. You can do it. You have the ability to. You have it. It's going to take time. You're not going to feel good over a day. And this is what I feel about anything I've talked about today here. You're not going to get it done in a day. You're not. Now, if you start making moves today, cool. That's awesome. That's freaking great, and I love that. But you're not going to get it done in a day. It's not going to happen. Because stuff like this takes time. You have to rechange your wording, all that stuff. It's going to be hard. Your mind's used to stuff like that. Whether it's getting yourself out on being more confident in yourself. That stuff takes time. Please do not expect it to happen over a week or a couple days. I'm a person who's still changing, and I've been changing since I was 14. I'm 22 now, all right? It's been 8 years, and I'm still changing, all right? So listen, if you're constantly changing, it's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you aren't going with the flow. But be you. Be you. Speak words over your life that are important. And I'll ask you this again. Are the words you speaking building other people up, yourself up, or are they tearing them down? Or are you tearing yourself down? I want to say thank you all for watching this Wisdom Wednesday and listening to it. I know. Listen. It's been 3 weeks, right? I am so sorry. I sprained my ankle recently. I'll catch you up on that. I'm not a smart man. I sprained my ankle about, I think, 2 weeks ago. And I was getting a sawhorse out of a truck bed. I got into the truck bed instead of lifting the sawhorse out of the truck bed. I got in it, I picked the sawhorse up, I jumped out of the truck bed, landed on my foot, and then my ankle went hwa-cha, and then it sprained. So I had to be on crutches for about a week, and I hated crutches. Oh my goodness, crutches was terrible. I hate crutches, I'm just going to be honest with you, homies, but But yeah, that's where I've been. It's been 3 weeks, and I do apologize. But I'll let you guys know on some updates. One, last week I didn't do a Wisdom Wednesday. I had to take my Meemaw to the hospital. They found 11 polyps in her, and they found 2 that were pretty big that could be cancers. And so I ask for your prayers and thoughts for her because, I hope it all goes pretty well. She says she's feeling great, though, so I think that's really cool. So I got high hopes for her, and I think it's really cool. Another thing is that, like, I now that I'm back in Unsprained, I plan to do more. All right, I want to do more. My PS5 came in, so that's pretty cool. For some of y'all are wondering, is like, man, Derpy hasn't posted in like 3 weeks about his PS5. That's because I got to edit it, and I do apologize. I've been going through a lot, so it's been pretty busy. But I'm still kicking, homies. So I'm still making content and doing some super cool stuff. But basically, as well as I also started a VODs channel. So if anyone wants to see my live streams, anything like that, I've started a Sir Derpy Creeper VODs channel. For anyone who misses live streams and wants to check up on them, I'm going to try to post as many as I can of games that I think are cool. I don't know if I can keep putting that up there. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I had to get a lot of time to do so. So that's the important part. Another thing too is that this 20th, I don't know when the 20th is. I don't think the 20th is on a Wednesday. It's on a Thursday. So, which is cool. So in 2 weeks, I'll be making another Wisdom Wednesday, and we'll just say that's the 1 year celebration. But it'll be 1 year. It'll be 1 year since I've been making Wisdom Wednesdays, and I know I've been like a little bit off and off on them, but I've still been making them, and I'm hoping that they're still doing really good for people. I do apologize for the setback, but I'm hoping it helps out with a lot of people. But it'll be a 1 year since I've been doing Wisdom Wednesday, and I'll be honest with you all. I was really scared at the start of doing Wisdom Wednesday. I was like, man, are people even going to listen to me? Are people going to like it? First one I made, I had 3 people message me saying they really needed it, and it really helped me, and I'm thankful for y'all. I really am. I'll say that. I'll say the stuff the next Wisdom Wednesday in 2 weeks. But I just want to say thank you all. Thank you all for so much stuff this year. This year's been great, and last year was just as great too. So I hope you all had a great time listening to this. If y'all have anything, need any help, don't feel free to message me or let me know about it. I think it'd be pretty cool. I also want to say this too. Listen, if anyone's a homie who's a Christian or maybe just interested in the whole Christian aspect or anything like that and wants to help out online with a deal, I'm looking for an online team just to put one together kind of deal to help me with my church online kind of deal, because there's a lot of stuff we're trying to do with church online, and I would love to get to know anybody who wants to do something for online or wants to be able to experience something like that or help build that online thing, because right now I'm a one-man team doing like a 4-man job. So it would be very helpful if you could. I was even at my staff meeting when I had sprained my ankle, and what they told me was they told me that what do you call it, they said, all right, here's a goal for you, right? You need one other person on your team or within the next 3 months. And if you don't have another person on your team in the next 3 months, we're going to sprain your other ankle. And I was like, oh, snap. And so it was funny. It was a joke, but it was cool. And so if you're interested in that, I would love to talk to you about it. I think it'd be a great thing to do. And hey, you know what? Like I mentioned before, doing something that helps other people, this is one of those things, by the way. If you're interested in helping out other people online, get that, feel more connected with other people, please come by my way, send me a DM, something. That would be great. I would love to contact you and talk about it. Yes, your Sundays will be busy. I will tell you that. Well, not busy, but like you will have to have something to do on Sunday for sure. But I would love to help anybody or have anyone help me if they can. Listen, y'all don't want me to have my other ankle sprain now, do you? That'd be crazy, right? I don't want that happening to me. But yeah, if you're interested, just let me know. Any socials will gladly help if you do any of my socials, which, by the way, here's the socials. I've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you want to check me out on all those are pretty rad. I usually post when I go live or post some comments. Instagram, I post some art very few times. I need to post my clips on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. I need to post all of them on there. And so I can try to grow more, because for the most part you'll get my majestic hand videos that flail, and then I say funny stuff when I go live. So if you want to see that kind of stuff, check out my Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. That'd be really super cool. I also have YouTube, and YouTube is where I post on all my Wisdom Wednesdays. So this one's going right up on YouTube. If you guys miss any of this, perfectly fine. Go to YouTube. YouTube's got all of them. YouTube has from the first one to this one instantly. It'll always have it. So if you ever don't see it on Spotify or SoundCloud, which, by the way, I have Spotify and SoundCloud, it's not fully on Spotify or SoundCloud. I have to keep a payment going, and I don't want to do that right now. I want to save some money. So at the moment, not everything's on Spotify and SoundCloud. Maybe on SoundCloud there's a lot more than Spotify, but I don't really know. But like, yeah, if you want to check me out on there, it's WHIZDUM Wednesday. It should be up there. It should be by Sir Derpy Creeper. And I've got Twitch, which is probably some of you majestic people are already watching on. And I want to say Twitch is a great way to see my Wisdom Wednesdays live and talk to me live. Also, like, I'll be playing games and stuff like that. But hey, listen, I love talking to people. I love having an awesome, energetic, positive environment. It's great. I think it's cool. And then having some great laughs too. So you can talk to me live there on Wisdom Wednesdays. I'm always welcome to feedback when I stream Wisdom Wednesdays, because I would love feedback on things that I may have missed, or I may just see a new experience out of something like that. So I would love to know about that if you guys can. And if you'd like to contact me on any of those, please let me know. I'd love to know if any of these Wisdom Wednesdays have impacted you or anything like that. I love hearing about it. It helps me build more confidence, and it helps me feel energized. It's like, yes, I'm doing something great, and it makes me feel better about it. And it makes me feel like I'm doing God's work. So, oh yeah, man, God's awesome. God's an awesome homie. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all I gotta say. This is a 50 minute, by the way, 50-minute Wisdom Wednesday. So I hope you all have a good rest of the day, good rest of the 2 weeks, good rest of the week. I hope to see you all around. Remember about your words, right? What you're speaking over yourself and others is important. Are you tearing them down? Are you tearing yourself down? Are you building yourself up or building others up? Make sure your words are building. Your words need to build. And I'll say this one more time for the Ephesians thing really quick, so I can head out of here. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as it fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. So, literally, build other people up. Don't talk bad about other people. Build them up. Always build other people up. You never know what will happen. You never know if you're going to help somebody out. Use words that build other people up, not tear them down. Anyway, that's it for this majestic Wisdom Wednesday, and I hope you have a good rest of the week. I know it's been like 50 minutes, but I felt really good talking about this. And I'll see you all next week. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Or not next week, next 2 weeks. Sorry about that if I can. It depends if I'm busy, but hopefully I can see you majestic homies later. Also, yes, I am waiting until it hits 52 minutes for me. I truly, sincerely hope that you look at your words. Watch the words you're saying to other people. It's important. It really is important. What you could do could really ultimately destroy somebody, or ultimately help somebody get through the problems they're trying to get through. So I pray that you majestic people have a great rest of this next few weeks, a blessed week. And I pray that you guys see some goodness, see the light of God in a lot of things. In Jesus' beautiful, mighty, majestic name, I pray. Amen. See ya, homies.